Good evening, I'm Gerg Cahiles sitting in for Pinky Web. Tonight, we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. As the world advances, so does the way of life. Along with the advent of technology comes ways and means to make life easier. This cannot be more evident than how we do our financial transactions. Take e-wallets, for example. Such applications not only allow you to complete bill payments and money transfers in minutes, some also let you earn points and save money. But there are times the system fails, like what happened to GCash just these past days, when many accounts got depleted all of a sudden. This raised questions, fueled doubts, and kindled fear that GCash and e-wallets in general may not be that safe after all. Let's get on point with Assistant Secretary Renato Paraiso of the Department of Information and Communications Technology and Mr. Rolando Tubo Jr., a GCash user. Good evening, gentlemen, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Good evening, Serge, to your viewers and followers. Good evening po sa inyo lahat.
All right, we will start with Ronald first. Ronald, a GCash user, let us know what happened. Meron ka bang experience nitong mga nakarang araw?
Hello, magandang gabi po. Most probably yung GCash po kasi ginagamit ko siya mostly for business. Now, meron akong habit na chine-check ko yung balance niya every night but before mag-12. Now, nung gabi po na yun, nagulat na lang ako kasi it's my habit na magko-close na yung mga shop ko. Biglaan lang nagulat ako kasi last check ko mga around 9 p.m. nasa 70,000 na yung laman. And then nag-report sa akin yung aking employee na nasa 90,000 na raw yung sales. Nagulat po ako na in a span of 2 minutes, nakita ko 24 pesos na lang yung laman niya.
Wow.
24 pesos.
And is that a regular thing? Lagi mo ba siyang na-experience or this is highly irregular? Wala kang pinindot? Wala kang ginawa sa GCash account mo?
Literal na wala. Sobrang safety conscious ko po. Hindi ako nagpipindot ng link. I never give OTPs. Sobrang security conscious ko kasi malaking pera yung pumapasok doon. So hindi ko hinahayaan na magkamali ako in that part. And nung chinek ko, nawala na lang siya as in eh. Nagulat na lang talaga ako. Sabi ko, nasa na yung pera? And then yun na nga po, nawala na.
So, monitoring the money, ano to, parang staggered yung pagkawala niya, let's say, or isang buo na wala ka agad? Walang transfer na napansin?
Okay po. Nung nakita ko siya, chinek ko agad yung transaction history. Nakita ko may 2,000 na lumabas.
Okay.
Sabi ko, paano nangyari to? Tapos ng clinic ko, sinend niya yung 2,000 sa dalawang number. So, nasa 40 transactions yon na maraming ganon. Kaya nagulat ako. Paano ako nagsisend ng pera in a span of 2 minutes into 40 plus transactions? Napaka-imposible para sa normal na tao. Kaya, yun nga po, medyo nakakagulat from our part.
So, after learning that, anong ginawa mo?
Ang una ko pong ginawa, syempre, nag-call out ako kay GCash. Kumontak ako kay GCash, pero nag-post rin ako sa Facebook. The reason that I posted, kasi alam ko na kapag individual lang ako, medyo mahihirapan ako humingi ng tulong. So, gusto ko malaman kung merong mga kaparehas ko na nagkaroon ng ganong problema. At ayun na nga. Nung bawat update ko, nag-post ako nun, nag-update ako, nag-call ako kay GCash, walang sumagot. Doon ako nagka-problema, sabi ko, tangina, laking pera, hindi sila makontak. Tapos, ako ng ticket kay GG, and then nag-post ako. Nung nag-post po ako, doon ko nalaman na hindi lang pala nangyayari sa akin. Unang post ko pa lang, within 10 minutes, nalaman ko may 5 users na. Pagdating ng umaga, hundreds, and then nung tanghali, syempre nagigising na yung mga tao, thousands na po yung affected. Gumawa ako ng group noon sa Facebook kung saan kinonsolidate ko, tinutulungan ko rin sila. Nagulat kami na millions of pesos po ang nawala in a span of a few hours.
I'm sure it's really hard for you, no? The hard-earned money na mawawala in just a matter of 2 minutes. Kaya medyo marubdob ang iyong pagkukwento sa ngayon tungkol sa nangyari. So, speaking of crowdsourcing, sabi mo nga, nag-post ka sa social media, you created a group. Gaano kadami yung nagkwento sa'yo or nag-reach out sa'yo? At did they experience a similar thing na walang nakuhang malinaw na sagot from GCash?
Opo. Nung umaga pa lang, mga 6 a.m. or magagaganong oras pa lang, hundreds na po agad yung kasama. Almost the same situation happened to all of us. Ang problema lang, hindi pa alam nung iba na nawalan sila kasi tulog sila that time. Kasi nung nawalan ako, 11:33 to 11:34. So habang gumigising yung tao, nagugulantang sila. The same situation happened with them na tigto 2,000 nga na inilabas hanggang masimot yung wallet nila.
Alright.
Napakadami affected.
Sige, babalikan natin si Ronald. Babalikan kita, Ronald, about that. But first, Assistant Secretary, can you give your reaction to this? What do you think about Ronald's story?
Well, first and foremost, I empathize with all those who were affected because I myself am an e-wallet platform user. On Saturday, we monitored activities, particularly the post of Mr. Ronald and several others. That's why we called the attention of GCash already. They responded with a press statement the following day, I think on Sunday. They personally reached out to me about their press statement. But again, there's no real way to verify whether that press statement or the alleged reconciliation of accounts was the true culprit in this particular event, Serge.
All right. Asik, since you mentioned about reconciliation process, para po sa amin na siguro hindi masyadong pamilyar sa prosesong ito, can you tell us what is a reconciliation process? At well, as far as you know po, from the DICT side, how can certain people lose money through this reconciliation process?
Well, from the way I understand things, it's that on the online platform, you have your account, you have your deposits there, and then it gets translated into a data bank. And that data bank gets updated regularly because maraming ways para mag-cash in do sa GCash mo eh. So, transactions, so yun yung reconciliation processes eh. After the transactions, they balance it out. I think that's where the problem, what they said the problem occurred. So, yun ho yung how I understood their explanation when it comes to the reconciliation process of GCash.
But do you think does that make sense? I mean, coming from, the technical side of it, posible po ba talagang mawalan ng pera ang mga tao kung nagkakaroon ng reconciliation process?
Technically, hindi siya nawalan ng pera. Ang nangyari is parang na hindi na-record properly sa reconciliation process. And to answer your question straight, yes, it can happen. However, we have no way as DICT to verify kung yun talaga yung nangyari or whether it was the reason is there are certain vulnerabilities in the systems, may kahinaan yung sistema ng GCash, yung platform mismo, or they were subject to an attack. There's no way to verify because DICT doesn't have the mandate to get itself involved with private entities.
All right. For this particular case, sir, are you investigating this? And if you are investigating this, ano ang lumalabas po sa inyong initial investigation? But before you answer that, sir, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more of our discussion with ASIC Paraiso and Mr. Tubo. Welcome back. You're watching On Point. Still with us, ASIC Paraiso and GCash user Mr. Tubo. ASIC, may hanging question ako sa inyo. Inimbestigahan niyo po ba or anong lumalabas sa initial investigation niyo kung meron?
Yeah, we investigated, George. Pero in a very, very limited capacity. We monitored the chatters to see if it was infiltrated by threat actors outside. Fortunately, hindi naman siya na-hack yung system nila. So, the probability na iniisip po namin, it's during the reconciliation process, there was an error, as they said, or there were certain malfunctions in the system itself.
So this is not a cyber attack. Na-rule out nyo na yun?
Na-rule out na natin.
Alright. Sige sir, you said it's limited capacity. Bakit limited yung capacity ng DICT to investigate something like this?
Because GCash is a private entity. And there are certain limitations on what DICT can do. 10844 that created DICT mandates that it is the technical consultant and advisor of government. But when it comes to these private entities, we do not possess any regulatory powers, much less yung oversight functions namin over them.
But if GCash will invite you to look into their, probably the process itself, you can do it.
Yes, and it won't be the first time. Marami na hong private entities that, would like to bolster yung credibility nila, because one of the things that happens here is, case in point, is reputational damage. And if the ICT steps in and takes a look at that system and they're confident that there's nothing wrong with the system, it bolsters their claim and their reputation na wala talagang mali sa system. It might be born out of manual error or some input error.
For this particular case, did GCash invite you to look into what happened?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So so how's the communication with GCash?
Oh, I think they're doing their own internal investigation. When it comes to communication, we're just aligning ourselves when it comes to the response that they made to the public. And us naman, we're very frank and we're very truthful that, we can only rely on what they said, but, we cannot be 100% sure that it's really what happened.
If they will give you access to their equipment or whatever, the system itself,
Yes.
what are the technical aspects that you need to look into para masabi natin na, okay, safe itong sistema nila?
First and foremost, when it comes to the incident, we need to look into their logs. They need to give us access to their logs, so we can look at yung what transpired technically do sa incident na yun. Second is we would dive into their systems and see if there would be any vulnerabilities or entry points that may be exploited by threat actors or may be subject to certain malfunctions. So these are the things that the ICT would look into when it comes to evaluating their system.
We know that the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas has the oversight power over there. It's the regulatory body
Yes.
sa mga e-wallets po.
Yes.
No? Sabi ng BSP, they're investigating it. Based on their statement, it's being attributed to a system error.
Yes.
Did the BSP tap the DICT to help them?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yes.
And how vital could be the role of DICT sana if you have like the power to look into all these things?
Well, it would be vital to keep very, very sensitive and important infrastructures like the financial sector infrastructures safe from threat actors. We would be evaluating their systems, like I said, and give the best practices, because one of the roles of the ICT is also to establish yung communications with our allies in other countries, because we have to understand that this particular phenomenon, when it comes to ICT, hacking, threat actors, security incidents, is borderless na. So what we experience here in the Philippines, being a third world country, is the same thing that's being experienced in the financial sector of other countries. So wag natin isipin na tayo lang, yung pamahalaan lang natin or yung mga financial institutions natin ang may pagkakamali. It's being experienced all over the world.
But Assistant Secretary, kung halimbawa sa credit card, di ba? If you have a credit card or a debit card, and makita nung bangko na parang, wait, teka muna, parang may mga fraudulent transactions yata or irregular, they make actions to stop that.
Yes.
Isn't that possible also with the advent of technology na may apply din ng e-wallet ito sa mga customers nila?
Tama, Sir George. I mean, there are certain ways to mitigate things. There's no 100% proof, hack-proof na system or fault-proof na system, but there are ways and systems to mitigate the effects. So we can apply those in this e-wallet platforms po natin.
So parang lumalabas po ba na hindi na sapat yung mga OTP ngayon? Kasi apparently in the case of Ronald, all of a sudden everything disappeared.
Well, it's still vital because we have to understand that when this particular incident happened, maraming nakisakay na threat actors tsaka mga scammers din.
Okay.
They launched a text campaign that because of what happened, you need to update your account with GCash. Pero nakikita mo, there's a link there that leads you to a website, a phishing website, and worse, it gets your financial details to get a hold of your account. And doon talaga yung mas malala. Ito ko kasi, reconciliation eh. So, aminado naman si GCash na may pagkakamali sila na hindi na-update yung wallet nyo. Parang ganun lang nangyari. Pero when it comes to the threat actors, talagang kinukuha nila. And you don't get to see the money. And that doesn't get recompensated right away.
Alright. Balikan ko lang si Ronald. Ronald, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, sir.
Okay. Well, ituloy lang natin yung kwento mo, no?
Okay.
Nawalan ka ng around, tama ba, 90,000 pesos?
Yes po.
Okay. Naibalik ba? Because according to GCash, it has already completed its wallet adjustments noon pang November 10. Nakasama ka ba sa naibalik yung pera?
Yes po. Ang nangyari po is, the first part, around 4 p.m., nagbalik sila ng 67,000. And then around November 11, 1 a.m., binalik nila yung kulang. So, dalawang tranche yung natanggap ko, naibalik naman po lahat.
Okay, how about the others? Yung mga nakausap mo, yung hundreds of people na nag-participate sa inyong group, no? Ano yung mga kwento nila?
Marami po sa kanila na ibalik na. Pero up to this point, may mga hindi pa raw nakabalik. Medyo hindi ako sobrang sure sa situation nila kasi hindi naman ako yung nakakalam ng info. Pero may mga nagsasabi na hindi daw nakabalik yun sa kanila. Tapos mayroong humahalo kasi. Kasi po yung nangyari ganito. Meron talaga mga tao na nai-scam through the links and giving OTPs.
Phishing.
So ang nangyari, yung mga tao na yun humalo doon sa parang nadali ng error.
Okay.
So mahirap salahin pero mostly lahat ng nakausap ko from the initial attack, na-refund na karamihan.
Okay. So, ang tanong ko ngayon, no, syempre naka-experience ka ng problema. How will you now rate the customer service of GCash? Given na nagka-problema ka, nasagot ba ang problema mo right away?
Okay. First of all, naibalik nila yung pera and that's a good thing na for GCash na nagawa nila ng action within 24 hours. Pero ang hindi maganda is parang ang hirap nila kontakin in a way na wala silang matinong customer service na gusto nila mag-submit ka ng ticket kay GG, which is an AI sa loob ng GCash app. Wala silang matinong parang call hotline na matawagan agad. Pero naman, which is in 2882 at isa pa. Pero ang hirap tawagan pag hindi banking hours, hindi yung e-wallet hours. Kasi, for example, nangyari yun, madaling araw, gabi, wala tayong contact sa kanila during that time. Hindi kagaya pag tumawag ka sa ibang banks, nakaka-contact. Tapos, ito na po yung isang problema. Medyo may lamat na yung tiwala natin sa kanila na dati siguro comfortable ako na mag-iwan ng 100K, 200K sa wallet ko ng GCash. Ngayon parang ang medyo meron ng takot na baka maulit.
Alright. I can understand the anxiety, Ronald, but we're taking a short break. Pag-reactin ulit natin si Assistant Secretary dito. So stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. You're watching On Point. I'm Gerg Cahiles, still with us, Assistant Secretary Paraiso and Mr. Rolando Tubo. Sir, your reaction to what Roland said earlier?
First and foremost, I sympathize. Like I said, I'm an e-wallet user as well. Not only one platform, but I think multiple platforms. And it's very convenient, to be honest. And it makes life easier than how we did things before. But I do understand that the certain anxieties and fears of our kababayans when using e-wallets, because it is eroded, this particular incident has eroded the trust factor. I think right now what GCash and other e-wallet platforms in general should do is strengthen that trust between their clientele and their platforms. But we should be always aware that, in these incidents, there are always threat actors and scammers that are looking to take advantage of the situation.
All right. Now, sir, there's this cybersecurity bill that will allow the DICT to look into these issues, no? Na hindi na kailangan ng siguro all out na, yes, I will allow you, no? So, papayagan kayong tingnan yung mga ganitong insidente. How will it be helpful? Lalo na sa pag ganitong panahon na nagiging questionable yung reputation ng mga e-wallet companies.
Well, unang-una, it helps government try to strengthen the financial institution as a whole. But you're right, it should be a whole-of-nation approach. E-wallet systems, the banking institutions should look at DICT when this particular bill is passed. Is us helping them to establish the trust with their clients and their reputation as well. Again, it's vital for us that we establish that trust kasi it's the only way moving forward towards digitalization.
Sir, dapat, ang DICT po ba dapat maging bahagi ng regulatory body na nagbabantay sa, let's say, e-wallet industry?
Yes. I think so, when it comes to the technical aspect of it, when it comes to the systems. Because we have to make sure that yung pinaghirapan ng mga kababayan natin na pera nila ay hindi masasubject sa mga threat actors, sa mga hacking, na maaring danasin ng mga ating mga bangko kung hindi secure yung system nila.
Okay. Kanina po may nababanggit po si Rolando tungkol sa phishing incidents, no?
Yes.
Na nahahalo dun sa grupo nila na
Yes.
naging apektado noong problema ng GCash. Baka lang po meron kayong siguro konting paliwanag tungkol dito and paalala lang sa mga users natin on how to take care of their financial capacity probably.
Tama naman, gaya ng binanggit natin kanina na talagang maraming magsasamantala dito sa mga insidenteng ganito at they would use the incident to perpetrate their scams. Ang paalala natin sa ating mga kababayan is when adopt that approach na magduda kayo when it comes to text or message na merong link na pinapaklik sa inyo. When in doubt, you can go directly to the GCash platform or their website. Sometimes kasi if you see the link, sasabihin nila www pero yung isang W maiba lang ng konti or yung zero nagiging O. So you may think it's the platform kopya nila but it's an entirely different platform that performs phishing activities and scam activities. So yun ang paalala natin sa mga kababayan natin. I think yes, the practice of cybersecurity hygiene must be adopted by everyone. At yung pakiusap ko lang doon sa mga technologically adverse nating mga kababayan, wag na kayong mag-atubili na mag-adapt yung mga tinatawag nyo na OTPs is one form of multi-factor authentication. Andyan din yung retina scans natin, yung biometrics natin. Yun lang. At andito parati ang inyong DICT. Sa mga nakaka-experience na scam, i-establish a hotline 1326 for all sorts of online scams. Professionals are on the other side to help you with your problems.
Sir, gaano kadaming natatanggap yung reklamo dyan sa inyong hotline in relation to, phishing or probably e-wallet issues?
On a daily basis, more than 1,000 siguro.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gaano kataas yung resolution rate kapag ganyan?
Well, the phenomenon of it being borderless is a challenge because most of the threat actors are located outside the country. Then it creates a jurisdictional problem for us. Matutuntun man natin or makikilala man natin yung threat actors but they're located outside outside our country. So talagang ang solution dyan is pakikipagtulungan sa iba't ibang mga kaalyado natin.
Alright. Si Roland siguro, bago tayo magtapos sa ating programa, is there anything that you wanted to say? Siguro on behalf of those people who you talked with in the past days, baka meron kang gustong sabihin?
Number one po, sana si GCash ay magkaroon ng mas magandang customer service in terms na mas madali makontak kapag nangyari itong mga ganitong pangyayari. Pangalawa, sana po meron tayong explanation on what really happened instead of just giving it a name as a system error. We want to hear explanations na bakit parang ang complicated ng nangyari na 2,000 and sent to something and anything like that. Gusto namin mabalik yung tiwala eh. We want to use GCash kasi convenient siya to be honest. Pero at the same time, may agam-agam kami. Gusto namin sana makarinig ng explanation on why it happened. So, yun lang po. Sana maipaliwanag sa amin what happened and sana marami pa po kayo matulungan.
Alright, sige. Maraming salamat, Roland, for that. Sir, siguro, as a parting question from our end, what can we expect from the DICT with your investigation and probably to fix issues sa e-wallet problems na na-experience po ng ating mga kababayan?
Well, like I said, we only have very limited capabilities to investigate this particular matter. We're just waiting for the invitation of not only GCash but other payment platforms. Ang assurance ko naman ho dito is the ICT is here to help. We're not here to look for something that's not there. If there would be vulnerabilities, we can discuss it and how to mitigate and resolve those vulnerabilities. And tama ho, the ICT is here to help provide an explanation that would regain the trust of the public.
All right. So, on that note, thank you very much, Assistant Secretary Paraiso and Mr. Tubo for your time. And that's On Point. Join us again tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel. I'm Gerg Cahiles on behalf of Pinky Web. Thank you for watching.